So today I'm going to be showing you how I made these cute little Valentine boxes. And they turned out really cute. I really like them. I don't know who originally came up with this idea. About 4 or 5 years ago I remember seeing several people do it online, but I don't know who originally came up with it. One way that I saw was with this cute little closure, and it just opens and the little Hershey nuggets pop out. And then I kind of experimented with using Velcro, which I'm not really sure if I liked the idea because it leaves this big gap on the side, but it still turned out really cute. And so let me show you how I made these. What I did was take my paper trimmer and remove the cutting blade. And I took a sheet of white cardstock that measures 6 inches by 3 inches, and I started out by scoring it at 2.5. Turned it around and scored it at 2.5 again. So I'm scoring on the long side. And then I scored it at 2 inches, 2.5 inches, 4.5 inches, and then at 5. Now to help you kind of see what I'm doing, I do have a template right here, which you might want to just pause your screen and take a look at it. When you look at it, you'll see where I've scored at the 2.5 lines, and then you'll see where I scored here at the 2, 2.5, 4.5, and 5, and that's the black lines. And you'll notice on here that I have some red dashed lines, and that's where I'm just going to make some cut marks to make a flap. And then over here where it's red and zigzagged, I completely removed those pieces. You'll notice here I have 2 A's marking my adhesive, but I actually changed where my adhesive is going to go. It just is going to depend on the direction that you want your piece to face. So for example, when you look at this one, my flaps are actually facing closed that way, so the rough line is here. But when you look at this one, I changed it and I have the flaps the opposite direction. So you just decide where exactly you want your adhesive to go, but I'll show you what I did. So after doing that, you know, you scored all your edges, and you take your bone folder and fold everything down. And I won't waste your time by doing all of it, but once you've done that and you've cut your pieces, you end up with a piece that looks like this. So here again, here's our top flap and our bottom piece. And also I went ahead and attached all the pieces on here, but I'll give you the measurements and you can just go ahead and adhere those pieces on and cut them out yourself. I'll also print them on the screen. These 2 large pieces right here, notice this one's upside down when you're looking at it at this direction, measure the back close flap. They measure 1 7/8 by 1 7/8, so it's a perfect square. And then these 2 little side pieces and this little piece right here, those measure 1/2 inch by 1 7/8. And then the top flap piece right here, or the back closed flap, is 1 7/8 by 7/8. And that gives you all the pieces that you need. You'll want to stick some sticky strip right here on these 2 small flaps that you cut. If you look back at our template, we'll see where those little dashed lines are, where I made my cut marks. And then if you flip it over, in the middle I stuck my sticky strip. Now you can also do it here. It's just up to you on how you want your box to close. If you do it this way, when you go to close your box, it'll end up with your flaps pointing this direction. Let me remove my template for a moment. So before I actually do that, I want to think a little bit about where my closure is going to go, and let me show you how I did that. So if I were doing some white cardstock, for example, as my closure, whoops, open everything as I go here. First I'm going to punch my hole, because that'll help me center everything up. So I'm going to punch my hole, and then I'm going to take a 3/4 inch punch, and this is made by Recollections. And I always stick a label on my punches because I can never remember what size they are if they're not labeled properly. And then I'm just going to center it, punch. And there's my little closure piece. And I'm using these little heart brads again by Recollections. I just love them. I picked these up at Michael's. And so I have this cute little heart. Now before I do this though, I need to kind of decide where my center is going to be. So if my center is right here, this is 2 inches. So if you go right in the middle of the 2 inches, whoops, you can kind of line this up. I actually marked it really faintly, and then just a little bit below is where we want this to fall. So when I do that, I'm just going to take a pencil and mark the center. Take my hole punch, punch it, and then I can go ahead and line up the hole, put in my brad, remembering this is going to close this way, so I want my heart to be this direction, and close my brad. Now we can go ahead and put our box together. So I'm going to start by taking these little side flaps off, the little sticky strip, lining up my box. Hopefully I'm on screen here. Removing my other sticky strip. And lining up that piece. And then we can go ahead and remove this side piece. So as you can see in this case, my flap is pointing away from where I'm going to do my decorative feature. I'll go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. It's basically just a matter of getting everything lined up right. So once I've done that, we can go ahead and stick our little nuggets in. I've wrapped one of them already, and my other one, it's just a piece of 3 1/4 inches by 1 inch cardstock, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this on. I have a little sticky strip already put on here to help me out. I'm always concerned that I'm wasting your time, so I want to do things fairly quickly. Let me just line that up, close it up, and then these will slide inside our little box. Just like that. Whoops. There we go. And then I'm just going to lift this up just a little bit and close my flap. So cute. And now to decorate the top, I use the Doodle Charms cartridge. And if you turn to page 84 of the manual, oh excuse me, 85, you'll see the scallop heart. Let me grab my little pieces here. I cut out one large white scallop first, and it measures, can't find my notes here, it measures 1 3/4, which is this large scallop here. And then I did the medium sized one in this pink, and it measures 1 1/2. And then I went over to and hit the shift lock and did this plain heart, and it's also cut out at 1 1/2, and that's how I got these 3 pieces. And my stamp comes from this little container called A Year of Holidays, and this is made by Hero Arts. And I just picked this up at Joann's. They have a bunch of stamps down on the bottom shelf, and so it looks just like this. Happy Valentine's Day. And I just used black ink to do that. And then to put these together, I'm just going to put a little adhesive on the back of my heart here and line this up just like that. And then I want to top dot it up. Let's center that just like that. And I've also stuck another pop dot on the back. And there we go, 3 cute little Halloween, how about Valentine's Day treat boxes. Again, there's the closure, and that's what they look like. So anyhow, if you have any questions or comments, leave me a post, and thanks for watching. Bye.